Good morning, students. My name is P. Sridevi, working as Head of Electrical and Electronics Engineering Section, Government Polytechnic, Warangal. So, presently, I am dealing with subject Electrical Engineering and Electronic Devices for second sem Diploma Electrical students. So, in that, we are having 6 units totally. The first 3 units are related to magnetism and its effects. The first unit is the magnetic effect of electric current, and second unit is the magnetic circuits, and third unit is the electromagnetic induction. So, what is the importance of magnetism in electrical engineering? That all we discussed in the previous 3 classes. And presently we are in the 4th unit, which is electrostatics and capacitance. So, what is the meaning of electrostatics? Electrostatics means, static means rest, electricity means current. So, the current actually two types, static electricity, dynamic electricity. It means electricity which is in motion is known as static electricity, and electricity which is at rest is known as static electricity, and electricity which is in motion is known as dynamic electricity. So, the branch of science that deals with static electricity is known as electrostatics, or we can say the branch of science which deals with electricity at rest is known as electrostatics. And capacitance. Capacitance is nothing but it is a device, capacitor. The capacitor value is measured in capacitance. Okay, 5 capacity, 6 capacity microfarads, like that. Two conducting plates separated by a dielectric material is used to store the electric charge is known as capacitor. Now, in this chapter we already discussed about what is the behavior of a charged atom. Generally, each and every atom in the nature is neutral in state. Neither it possesses positive charge nor it possesses negative charge. If we add some electrons, then it gains negative charge. If we remove some electrons, then it gains positive charge. So, always charged particle, charged object always tries to attract other charged objects. So, the behavior of charged objects is given by Coulomb's laws of electrostatics. So, in that the first law is nothing but like charges repel each other, whereas unlike charges attract each other. And the force of attraction or repulsion between two charged objects is directly proportional to the product of their charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So, if you take proportionality, it equal to k, where k is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon, whereas epsilon is known as permittivity. And we discussed what is electric flux, what is electric flux density, what is electric field, and what is electric field intensity. And in the last class, what is potential difference. All these topics we discussed. Okay. Now, in this unit, we will discuss about dielectric strength, dielectric constant, capacitance, and formula for the capacitor. Now, in the previous lesson, we discussed about the comparison between electrostatic and magnetic lines of force. So, what is the electrostatic lines of force? They starts from positive charge and they ends at negative charge. Whereas in magnetism, they starts from north pole and the ends at south pole. In case of electrostatic lines of force, these lines passes through all non-conducting substances. They do not passes through conducting substances like copper, silver, any metal. Okay, so that is why electrostatic lines of force passes through the air, because air is a perfect insulator. Whereas magnetic lines of force, they passes through all substances. No, there is no insulator for magnetic lines of force. And these electrostatic lines of force are always normal to the surface. If this is the surface, the line is like this. Whereas magnetic lines of force, they are not normal to the surface. And here electrostatic lines of force, they are always straight. They don't form the closed loops. Okay. Whereas magnetic lines of force, if you take the solenoid, this is the north pole, this is the south pole, it forms the closed loop. These magnetic lines of force forms the closed loops. Here the remaining similarity is electric flux, magnetic flux, psi, d, okay, like that. Now the Gauss theorem. What is the Gauss theorem? Suppose in any imaginary surface, we are having 6 different types of charges. Some of the charges may be positive, some of the charges may be negative. Plus q1, minus q2, minus q3, plus q4, minus q5, minus q6. Like that, 6 charges are enclosed in a closed surface. Then what is the total flux of that closed surface? What is the total flux of that closed surface? So the flux is nothing but the number of electric lines of force passing through the area. That depends on what factor? The lines which passing through some particular area, that depends on the permittivity of the media. Suppose from a charged object, 100 electric lines of force are emerging. But how many lines are passing through the air in which the charged object is kept? Means, we can't say 100 lines will pass through the air. That depends on permittivity of the air. Permittivity of the air. Okay. So the permittivity is nothing but which is the resistance offered to the electric lines of force is known as permittivity. So in a closed surface, if 6 charges you are having, first you calculate total charge. Total charge is equal to plus q1 plus minus q2 plus minus q3 plus q4 plus minus q5 plus minus q6. If you add algebraic sum of all the charges, algebraic sum of means we are adding, but if it is positive, take the positive. If it is a negative, take negative. Okay. Add. So then you find total Q. Total Q by epsilon will give the net flux passing through an imaginary closed surface is equal to the ratio of total charge enclosed in that surface to the permittivity of the media. Q total by epsilon. That is Gauss theorem. Now electric potential and potential difference. So what is potential? Potential means the capacity. Potential means capacity. Now we just take, according to Coulomb's law, like charges repel each other, whereas unlike charges attract each other. It means electric potential means the capacity of a charged object to do some work is known as electric potential. Capacity of a charged object to do some work is known as electric potential. Because always charged object tries to do some work. Either it will attract other object or it will repel other charged object. So the definition can be given as the work done by a charged object in bringing A unit positive charge which is at infinite distance to the nearer to this charged object is known as electric potential of this charged object. Now potential difference. Now what is potential difference? Suppose if I take one example, if I take two students, one student got 90 out of 100 and other student got 80 out of 100. What are the marks difference between those two students means what I will do? The capacity of one student is 90, capacity of other student is 80. So what is the difference in capacities? Marks difference 90 minus 80. Similarly, potential difference also, if you are taking two charged objects, if potential of this charged object is VA and potential of this charged object is VB. Now potential difference between these two charged objects, listen the word, potential means only of one charged object. Potential difference means between two charged objects. Okay. Now potential of this charged object is VA and potential of this charged object is VB. Now the potential difference between these two charged objects is equal to VAB equal to VB minus VA or VA minus VB, whichever is greater. So in definition we can say the difference in potentials of the difference in electric potentials of two charged objects is known as potential difference between them. Suppose this charged object is having a potential of 100 volts and this charged object is having a potential of 60 volts. Now potential difference between these two charged objects is equal to 100 minus 60, 40 volts. So that is potential difference. So these are the topics we discussed in the previous class. Now in this we will discuss about dielectric strength, dielectric constant, capacitance and formula of a capacitor. Formula of a capacitor. Now we will discuss about dielectric strength. Dielectric strength. First of all, what is a dielectric material? So in according to electrical engineering requirements, the materials are three different types: conductors, insulators, semiconductors. So a conductor means a material which allows electrons to pass through them. Then such materials are known as conductors. So like aluminum, silver, copper, gold. But among all those, copper is the best conductor with minimum cost and effective conduction. Now insulators. So the materials which doesn't allow electrons to pass through them. Materials which doesn't allow electrons to pass through them are known as insulator. For example, wood, plastic, mica, and insulating materials are known as dielectric materials. Insulating materials are known as dielectric materials. Now the third category is semiconductors. So semiconductors are materials those allows electrons to pass in one direction and doesn't allows to electrons to pass through them in other direction. Suppose if this is the semiconducting material, electrons will pass from this side to this side, but they won't pass from this side to this side. Suppose if it is the conductor, they pass from this side to this side and this side to this side. If it is insulator, the electron doesn't flow from this to this and this to this. So these are the basic properties and types of materials which mostly we will use in electrical engineering field. Now here the second category, insulating materials are also known as dielectric materials. Insulating materials are also known as dielectric materials. So now what is the basic property of dielectric material? Whatever be the current we are giving, it doesn't allow the current. It stops there. Suppose just if you take a dam, so if you take a dam, so the river water is coming and it will accumulated across the gates. The level of the water will be increasing. If you open the gates, then water will flow. Otherwise, the water will be stagnated and level of the water is increasing. Suppose if you take instead of dam, suppose if you take some lakes or tanks, okay. In that, if you water in rainy season, if water increases, if you doesn't make any hole to that, some in Telugu gandi kottadam we will call it as, okay. If you doesn't make any hole, what happens? That it will be break down and water will come like a flood and it will throw off the all villages. Okay. So that is why in the similar manner, if the insulating material, if you are giving the voltage, whenever we are giving the voltage, what happens? Normally current will pass through the material. Because it is the insulating material, it won't allow electrons to pass, but electrons will be accumulating on this side and this side. But every material is having its own capacity. Okay. Suppose if you are taking half-liter pressure cooker, if you are cooking 1 kg of rice, what happens? Blast. Pressure cooker definitely blast. Inside the pressure increases beyond its capacity. So similarly, just like pressure cooker, if the charge accumulating on the both the sides is increasing, then what pressure will be developed and that pressure will breaks the insulating material. Now no more it acts like an insulating material, then it acts like a conductor. So the voltage up to which the insulating material acts as the insulating material, or we can say the voltage beyond which the insulating material no more acts like insulating material, it breaks down all its insulating properties, that voltage is known as dielectric strength or dielectric breakdown, and it is measured in how many volts required for so and so thickness. See, if thickness is only 1 mm, less voltage is required. If the thickness increases, suppose if you take a small stick, if you want to break down the stick, little amount of energy is required. If you take this much of thickness wooden piece, if you want to break down that, you need more amount of energy. It means as the thickness of the insulating dielectric material increases, the voltage required to break down the insulating material also increases. Hence, the dielectric material is measured in volts per thickness, volts per mm. If the thickness is measured in mm, it is volts per mm. So, the dielectric strength is defined as the electrical strength of an insulating material. It means what is its strength, up to how much voltage it can withstand. Okay. Say before going to use any insulating material in electrical devices, first of all you should definitely know the dielectric strength of the material. Suppose for a small amount of current, the insulating material loses its insulating properties, then what happens? Short circuit of the apparatus takes place, burning takes place, and all the apparatus will be damaged. Okay. So before going to use the material in electronic devices or electrical devices, we have to get the value of dielectric strength. So dielectric strength is defined as the electrical strength of insulating material. Electrical strength means up to how much current, how much voltage it can withstand without losing its insulating properties. So the dielectric strength is measured as the maximum voltage required to produce a dielectric breakdown through a material. So it is expressed as volts per unit thickness. Volts per unit thickness. Now this phenomenon is called dielectric breakdown, and corresponding field intensity is referred as the dielectric breakdown strength. So dielectric strength may be defined as the maximum potential gradient to which a material can be subjected to without insulating breakdown. It means up to how much voltage the material can withstand without rupturing its insulating properties. That is, ds is the dielectric strength and is measured in kilovolts per mm. Kilovolts per mm. So here the dielectric strength of some materials are given. See, air 10 power 6 volts per m, 3 into 10 power 6 volts per meter. Teflon 60, nylon 14, aluminium 10,000. Okay, like that the values are given. So dielectric strength is the maximum electric field which a capacitor can endure without breaking down. Once again, let me explain. What is a capacitor? First of all, two conducting plates separated by a non-conducting material. Okay. If you give the supply to these two conducting plates, what happens? Generally, whenever you give the supply, current should pass through the material. But here, to pass current from this to this, in between what we are having? We are having insulating material. Okay. That is why current does not passes. Charge will be accumulated on this plate and charge will be accumulated on this plate. But up to how much the charge will be accumulated? Up to certain capacity. Beyond that, if you still we are increasing the voltage across these two plates, the material, the insulating material between the plates breaks down and no more it acts like a insulating material. Then it allows the current pass from this plate to this plate and no more it acts like a capacitor. So here, when a capacitor does not function as a capacitor because the dielectric material used in between two plates of a capacitor breaks down. So that, see, the dielectric strength is the maximum electric field which a capacitor can endure. It means which a capacitor can withstand without breakdown. So actually capacitor, in between the capacitors we are having insulating material. If the breakdown takes place, the capacitor acts like a conductor. Now it cannot store the charge. Suppose if you are lifting water to our overhead tank, if there is a hole in below the tank, whatever be the water pumping into the tank will leaks out through the hole. Once the tank is acting like a conductor, so no storage of water. If there is no hole, the water level in the tank will increase. Then it is acting like a capacitor. Similarly, when it is acting like a capacitor, it stores the electric charge. If the in between the plates of the capacitor we are having dielectric material, means insulating material. If that insulation breaks down, if you are applying more voltage, then the capacitor acts like a conductor. No more it acts like a capacitor. It cannot store the charge and hence it acts like a conductor. For example, air will start conducting electricity when the electric field present in the air is 30 lakhs newtons per coulombs. If that much of electric field intensity is there, 30 lakhs newtons per coulombs, then air also acts like a conductor. That is why when we are going to the substations, all these, we should be very careful. Suppose due to any problem, if the air in the voltage in the air increases, it acts like a conductor, we may get shock. That is why they use it to what stones. So this is about dielectric strength of a dielectric material or dielectric strength of a insulating material. Now we will discuss about dielectric constant. So dielectric constant is denoted by the symbol K of a material is the ratio of its permittivity. See, every material is having permittivity. Permittivity means what? The resistance offered to the flow of electric lines of force. Resistance offered to the flow of electric lines of force. So the ratio of permittivity of vacuum, the permittivity of the material to the permittivity of the vacuum. So K is equal to epsilon by epsilon naught. Epsilon by epsilon naught. C is known as dielectric constant and therefore also known as relative permittivity of the material. See, permittivity of the material is nothing but epsilon, which is equal to epsilon naught into epsilon r. By permittivity of vacuum is epsilon naught into epsilon r, while epsilon r equal to 1. So epsilon naught gets cancelled and permittivity, the dielectric constant K is equal to simply relative permittivity of the material. Relative permittivity of the material. So as it is the ratio of two similar quantities, it has no units. It has no units because ratio of permittivity and absolute permittivity, both are measured in farads per meter only. Okay. See the definition dielectric constant. Dielectric constant is the ratio between the permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of free space or vacuum. Okay, K is equal to epsilon by epsilon naught. So whereas permittivity is nothing but a measure of the resistance that is offered when forming an electric field in a medium, or we can say resistance offered to the flow of electric lines of force. The characteristics of a dielectric material are determined by the dielectric constant and it has no units. So what is the behavior of a dielectric material? That can be determined by the dielectric constant value of the dielectric material. By knowing the dielectric constant, we can judge the characteristics of a dielectric material. So, once again, dielectric constant has no units. Dielectric constant has no units. Now the dielectric constant can be given in two different forms. So K is equal to the ratio of capacitance of a capacitor with a dielectric material between the plates to the capacitance of a capacitor with vacuum is the dielectric material between the plates. Or we can say capacity of a capacitor with any dielectric material as the dielectric to the capacitance of a capacitor with vacuum as the dielectric. The ratio of these two quantities is known as dielectric constant. Or we can say the dielectric constant equal to relative permittivity of the media, which is equal to the permittivity, the ratio of permittivity of a material to the absolute permittivity, or we can say permittivity of the free space or vacuum. The ratio of permittivity of a material to the ratio of permittivity of a vacuum, epsilon m by epsilon naught, is known as dielectric constant of a dielectric material. Now we will discuss about capacitor and capacitance. First of all, what is a capacitor? So we already heard a word battery. Okay. So what is a battery? Battery, or we can call it as a cell. Say group of cells is nothing but known as a battery. Okay. So what is a cell? A cell is a storage device. Cell is a storage device in between two plates are separated with a electrolytic material, and in which energy is stored in the form of chemical energy. Energy is stored in the form of chemical energy while in usage it is converted into electrical energy. So a group of cells is known as battery, and battery is nothing but it is a combination of cells in which two conducting plates are separated by a electrolytic material, and it is used to store the energy in the form of chemical energy, and while in usage it is converted into electrical energy. So simply we want to say battery is a storage device. In the similar manner, capacitor is also a storage device. It also consists of two conducting plates, two plates like this, separated by a dielectric material. If you give supply across the plates, what happens? Electrons tries to flow, but after reaching this place, they cannot reach this place because in between the plates, a dielectric material is there. So it is used to store the electric charge. That is why nowadays supercapacitors are used to store the electric charge instead of batteries. Okay. So battery, it has a maintenance. Okay, it is a big problem. Where capacitor means it can be portable, it can take anywhere along with like that. Okay. Now a capacitor is a device used to store electrical charge and electrical energy. That is, a capacitor is used to store the electric charge or used to store electrical energy. What is its construction? It consists of two conducting plates separated by a dielectric material. Separated with a dielectric material. And the value of the capacitor. Suppose the resistor means its value is measured in 5 ohms resistance. Like that. The value, the magnitude, amount, the value of the capacitor is measured with the term capacitance. Okay, capacitance. And it is denoted by the symbol capital C. And it is measured in farads. The capacitance is measured in farads. So, what is a capacitor finally? Capacitor is used to store the electric charge. That's it. So, once again, a capacitor is used to store the electric charge. Okay? And its construction is nothing but two conducting plates separated by a dielectric material is known as capacitor. And the value of capacitor is measured in capacitance. How much capacitance? Okay. And capacitance value is measured in farads. And the capacitance value is measured in farads. And it is denoted by the symbol C. It is denoted by the symbol C. So here the diagram of a capacitor is given. See, two conducting plates. One plate is both the plates will possess equal amount of charge. Okay. See, one plate is having positive charge Q coulombs and other plate is having minus charge Q coulombs. So these two terminals are known as terminals across which we can give the supply. If you want to give supply to the capacitor, we have to give through these two terminals. And the area of the plate is given as A. Area of the plate is given as A. and distance between the plates is given as d. Distance between the plates is given as d, and electric field intensity is given as E. Now, how the capacitance of a capacitor is defined? Okay, how the capacitance of a capacitor is defined? Suppose if you are giving V volts across these two plates. If you are giving V volts, how much charge it is able to accumulate? Suppose it is able to accumulate Q coulombs of charge. We are giving V volts, it is able to accumulate Q coulombs of charge. So the ratio of charge accumulated to the voltage applied, the ratio of charge accumulated to the voltage applied is known as, gives the capacitance of this capacitor. Means how much voltage we are applying, how much charge it is accumulating, how many electrons are flowing. Okay. So if V equal to Q, 100%, 100 microfarads capacitor. The capacitance capacity is 100%. Whatever be the voltage we are giving, the entire voltage is accumulated on the plates. So that is why the ratio of charge accumulated on the plates to the voltage applied across the plates will give the capacitance of a capacitor. Capacitance of a capacitor. So here the capacitance of a capacitor is defined as the charge stored per unit potential difference change. Or we can say, if you are giving 1 unit voltage across the plates, what is the charge accumulated on the plates? That is, if you are giving 1 voltage, if 20 coulombs are 20 microcoulombs are accumulated, then the capacitance of capacitor is nothing but 20 microcoulombs. It means the charge accumulated on the plates when 1 unit voltage is applied across the plates is known as capacitance of a capacitor. Capacitance of a capacitor. So C equal to Q by V. The capacitance of a capacitor is defined as the charge stored per unit potential difference. The charge stored for unit potential difference. So its value is measured in farads. Q equal to CV or V equal to Q by C. This formula can be used in any 3 different forms. C is equal to Q by V, Q equal to CV, or V equal to Q by C. So these 3 formulas can be used to calculate. So in C equal to Q by V, C is equal to capacitance of a capacitor measured in farads. Capacitance of a capacitor measured in farads. Q is equal to charge stored measured in coulombs. Q is equal to charge stored measured in coulombs. And whereas V is equal to voltage across the capacitor measured in volts. Voltage across the capacitor measured in volts. Now we will discuss, instead of these two, in spite of these two are known as the active values, we have to calculate the capacitance value in terms of passive values also. So what is active values? What is passive values? See, if you take example resistance R equal to V by I. So this is known as active values, voltage and current. In the similar way, C is equal to Q by V. And in another way, R equal to rho L by A. These 3 are dimensional values related with hard material. R equal to rho L by A. In the similar manner, we have to find out capacitance value also in terms of constants, not in terms of variables. These are variables. Charge voltage are variable. We can increase the voltage. As we are increasing the voltage, charge accumulated also increases. So this is the capacitance value given in the form of variables. Now we have to derive the capacitance of a capacitor in the form of constants. So this is parallel plate capacitor. This capacitor is known as parallel plate capacitor because It is having two plates which are kept parallel to each other. In between those plates, we are having dielectric material. Hence, this capacitor is also in depth, in detail, is also known as parallel plate capacitor. So, in terms of constants, its value is given by epsilon naught, epsilon r, a by d. C is equal to epsilon naught, epsilon r, a by d, where C is equal to parallel plate capacitance, or we can say capacitance of a capacitor. Epsilon r equal to relative permittivity of the dielectric material placed between the plates. See, these small rounds, it is nothing but dielectric material. So epsilon is nothing but dielectric material, this permittivity of the dielectric material, relative permittivity of the dielectric material. Well, epsilon naught equal to permittivity of the free space or dielectric constant of a free space. And capital A is nothing but area of the each plate. See, both the plates are having same area, which is given by A. And where D is equal to distance between two plates. Distance between two plates. Now see, from this, the capacitance is given by Q by V. Capacitance is given by Q by V. And electric field intensity E is given by V by D. V by D. And electric flux density D is equal, here it is given as sigma, actually we can call it as D. D is equal to Q by A. Q by A. So E is equal to flux density by epsilon naught. Electric field intensity E is equal to flux density by epsilon naught, where flux density is equal to Q by A into epsilon naught. Substituting this Q by A value in this Q by A into epsilon naught, where comparing equation 1 and 2, V by D is equal to Q by A into epsilon naught. So Q by V is equal to epsilon naught A by D. So Q by V is nothing but capacitance of the capacitor. So capacitance of the capacitor is given by epsilon naught A by D. Epsilon naught A by D, where A is the area of the each plate. So once again, C is equal to Q by V. Electric field intensity E is equal to V by D. Electric flux density equal to Q by A. And electric field intensity E is equal to flux density by epsilon. So in place of electric flux density, substitute Q by A into epsilon. But electric field intensity E is also given as V by D. Equating these two, V by D is equal to Q by A into epsilon naught. So that is Q by V equal to epsilon naught into A by D. So which is nothing but capacitance of a capacitor equal to epsilon naught A by D farads. Now one problem is given. A metallic sphere of radius 5 centimeters is concentrically placed inside another sphere of radius 12 centimeters. The space between them is filled with a material of dielectric constant phi. Determine the potential of the arrangement when the inner sphere is charged with 0.02 microcoulombs. See, radius of the inner sphere is 5 centimeters, which is equal to 0.05 meters. And radius of the outer sphere is nothing but equal to 12 centimeters, that is 0.12 meters. So the potential of the arrangement equal to V equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon into R. B minus A by AB. So which is equal to 419.43 volts. So the distance we have to take B minus A. Now capacitance equal to C is equal to Q by V, which is equal to 0.02 into 10 power minus 6 by So it is nothing but potential difference because outer radius, inner radius. In between these two, we are calculating the potential difference. So outer radius is 0.12, inner radius is 0.05. If you take LCM, B minus A by AB. That we substituted here, okay? So C is equal to Q by V. So which is equal to Q is nothing but 0.02 into 10 power minus 6. So 47.684 picofarads. Now one more problem. A capacitor consists of two similar square aluminium plates, each 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter, mounted parallel and opposite to each other, like this. Parallel and opposite to each other. What is the capacitance in microfarads when a distance between them is 1 centimeter and the dielectric between the plates is air? C is equal to epsilon A by D. It is kept in air, epsilon r equal to 1. So epsilon naught is 8.854 into 10 power minus 12 into, what is area? 10 into 10. So 10 power minus 4. Minus 4, 10 cancels. We remain with 10 power minus 2 by distance is 1 centimeter, which is equal to 10 power minus 2. So which is equal to 8.854 10 power minus 12 farads. Micro means minus 6 into minus 6 is nothing but minus 12. Micro farads. Now C is equal to Q by V. So V is equal to Q by C. Now potential difference between the plates equal to, Q is nothing but given as 500 micro means 500 into 10 power minus 12 by C is nothing but 8.854 into 10 power minus 12. Minus 12 gets cancels, which is equal to 56.5 volts. When wax is introduced, their capacitance is increased by 4 times. So in between the plates, actually air is there. Instead of air, if I filled this gap with wax, its permittivity is 4 times that of the air. So the capacitance equal to multiply with 4. 4 into 8.854, which is equal to 35.4 picofarads. Pico means 10 power minus 12. Micro means 10 power minus 6. Nano means 10 power minus 9. Okay. The potential difference will obviously decrease because as that dielectric constant value is changed. So V is equal to Q by C. Q is nothing but how much? 56.5 by C is nothing but it is increased by 4. 14.1 volts. 14.1 volts. So in this way we can calculate the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. So in this lesson we discussed about dielectric strength, dielectric constant, capacitance and formula of a capacitor. So what is dielectric strength once again? Dielectric strength means nothing but it is the strength of the insulating material. It is the strength of the insulating material. So the maximum voltage up to which a dielectric material can withstand without losing its dielectric properties, without losing its insulating properties. That voltage is known as dielectric strength of the insulating material. So it is measured in kilovolts per mm. Kilovolts per mm. Now dielectric constant. It is nothing but ratio of capacitance of a capacitor with a dielectric material to the capacitance of a capacitor with air as the dielectric material. It means it is nothing but we are comparing capacitance of a capacitor value with two different dielectrics. First you took any dielectric material, then you take air as the dielectric. Then compare these two values. That ratio will definitely give the dielectric constant of a material. So dielectric constant means ratio of two similar quantities. So it has no units. Okay. Now the third one is capacitance. If two conducting plates are separated by a distance with a dielectric material, then that structure is known as capacitor. And it is used to store the electric charge whose value is known as capacitance. and it is measured in farads. It is measured in farads, and its value can be measured by C is equal to one formula is Q by V, that is in terms of variables, and in terms of constant C is equal to epsilon A by D. Epsilon A by D. So these are the two formulas to calculate capacitance of a capacitor. Okay students, I will stop here. Okay, I will continue in the next lesson. The remaining topics will be covered as what is the total capacitance value if capacitors are connected in series, and what is the total capacitance value if capacitors are connected in parallel, and what is the energy stored if you two conducting plates are separated by dielectric material. If you are giving the supply, the charge will be accumulated on the plates. It means some energy is stored in the capacitor. So what is the formula to calculate energy stored in a capacitor? That we will discuss in the next class. Okay, goodbye students.